Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. We're continuing to look at this idea of obstacles to peace, peace that emanates from us. And we're shown here in A Course in Miracles, and we can see in our day-to-day, moment-to-moment experience life, activities, that this is true, is that this peace, which would extend outward, encounters many obstacles along the way. First and foremost, as we've seen recently here, is our desire to get rid of peace. Behind that is the attraction of guilt. Now, this may sound rather weird to you. I don't know. It may sound bizarre and perhaps highly incongruous, but let's think about this for a moment here. We're all attracted to guilt on some level. If we weren't, we wouldn't want to keep it. We wouldn't want to hang on to our little judgments on ourselves. Think about that. How harsh of a critic are you on yourself? Exactly. That's why it's said in common parlance that we're our own worst critics. Oh, yeah, no question. And perhaps that may really, really deeply resonate with you. Now, we also want to hang on to our little criticisms and our secret disdains, or not so secret judgments, blatant judgments on other people and other groups of people, on the world itself, on other nation states, on other supposedly separate entities. So we want to hang on to all of this. It's the attraction of guilt. It draws us while we think that we're separate. While we think we're an ego, a, an individual, self-sustaining survival unit. By the way, that's a phrase that I love to use. If you've seen these videos before, you know that. And yeah, I have absolutely no claim to credit for coining that phrase, which I saw on a woman's resume in the 1990s. Self-sustaining survival unit. Now, at the time, I thought, well, that's pretty cool. That's cool, isn't it? That's clever. Yes, an individual self-sustaining survival unit. Okay. The phrase defines what we think we are when we identify with the ego, when we're attracted to guilt and we rush to it. We think we're an individual. We think we're self-sustaining. We are not. We're created by God. Survival unit. Well, there is no death because we're perfectly at home in God, but we apply the term survival unit to this, which is not, as we all know, a survival unit because it goes. So we're presented here with an alternative, which may seem to you like a clear, crystal clear alternative, or it may seem like it's no alternative at all because of the state of mind that you may find yourself in. And I don't know what that is right now in this moment as you're watching this video. But the alternative is to love. Guilt and love are completely different. And love does not even look on guilt. It does not even recognize it. Hence, the choice that we have right now. I mean, when else? When else? Right now, in the present moment between love and fear, between guilt and love, if you prefer. Which we choose matters, and it matters greatly because whether we choose guilt or whether we choose love, it sends out, in the language of the Course, messengers to bring back reports written in the sender's language. In other words, if you choose to see guilt, you'll see guilt because you'll look apparently outside of you and you'll look at compound bodies of flesh and blood and bone that decay and rot and deteriorate. You'll see death, you'll see battle, warfare, destruction, and rife competition where it appears that we have to be very defensive because it appears that our brother is out to get us. So, to sum it up, we look on a world of savagery because, well, it has some benign and beautiful moments like a cute puppy or a kitten or a hug from a grandchild or a beautiful sunset. Those are all symbolic of who and what we really are. And interspersed with all of that is the drama, the stuff, which we experience often in an up and down roller coaster that frequently has us exhausted. So that's what we see if we send out the messengers of guilt. Now, if you send out the messengers of love, if you choose love to extend love, you'll get reported back to you a world of kindness and beauty, oneness, forgiveness, and radiance, sheer radiance. And those are just words which can only point to the actual experience of it. That's all, indeed, any teacher can do is point. Yeah. So we have a choice. Do we choose guilt and fear, or do we choose love? And which we choose will send back messages of a world. We'll see that which we choose. So we'll see that which we choose, guilt or love, fear or love. Which will it be? Which will it be? That is the question for each and every one of us. And so we're all invited to think about that and to think carefully about that, knowing that if we choose guilt, we'll see the ravages of fear. Yet if we choose love, we'll see oneness, kindness, joy. So it's very, very important. This is a very, well, I hope, clear illustration of why awareness is such a topic in spirituality. I mean, you might have heard various spiritual traditions and various teachers and people talk about present moment awareness, mindfulness practice, meditation practice, yada, yada, yada. Okay, what's next? That's so yesterday. No, it's right now. It is. It's right now. And it's so, so important because of this choice. When we're distracted and carried away and frantic we don't find ourselves able to choose love until we get a little gap in the frantic, a little pause in the anxiety in which we can choose something different. So it becomes very, very important. That's why spiritual traditions stress the idea of awareness in the present moment. When else? So, here in this section, chapter 19, section 4, A Roman numeral 1, if you're following along, the last paragraph is paragraph 17, and Jesus takes the opportunity that he takes in many other parts of A Course in Miracles to stress that you are not a body and there is no sin. And that's a prominent theme. Those are both prominent ideas in A Course in Miracles. And we all know, whether we choose to acknowledge it right now or not, we all know that we're not a body. This is completely fallible. Of course, it doesn't last, it decays, and it goes bye bye. Yet it's not you. And deep down, we all know this. We don't, of course, have to choose to acknowledge that in the present moment, which is very important. If you're experiencing resistance to the idea that you're not a body, we have all experienced that resistance, and that's just fine. It's part of the path. Yet we all know that we're not a body because we know that there's more to it than simply meeting the needs of this physical organism, than eating, sleeping, drinking. Yeah. And of course, there's more. It's why we're all on the spiritual path. There is no sin, quite simply because God is one. There's no ego. God has no ego to be offended. Our belief in the ego, our allegiance to the ego, is a mistake. There is only perfect oneness. God, in fact, is the only reality, and we're all part of this reality, not as separate beings, as one. God is the creator. We're the Son of God. We are the created. Like extends like. Love extends itself. In other words, God extends himself. We're God's creation, the extension of God, which is not a body. God's not a body. Bodies decompose. Reality, truth, God is eternal, outside time, outside space, outside of all of the conventions that we've agreed on to govern this spinning ball of rock. We can forgive them and release them and let them all go in our mind. There's no sin because there's no separation. The idea of sin implies giving offense to someone or something. In order to do this, there must necessarily be two or more actors, some one or something who commits this egregious fault, and one who's offended by said supposed fault or action. It's a separation idea. There is no separation of any kind. You are not a sinner. I know that many of you have been raised to believe that you are that and that you may hold on to that, or you did, perhaps, as a badge of honor. No, this is A Course in Miracles. You're here for a reason, and this course aims to help us clarify our perception. It is upside down. We're turning it right side up. Learning, in other words, to see things as they really are. When we've fully and completely clarified our perception, truth dawns of itself instantaneously and automatically. That's what we call awakening or enlightenment. In order to have that occur in our experience, we must completely clarify our perception and learn to see things as they are right now. Learn to see our brother as he is right now. Learn to see ourselves as we are, in other words, because there's no separation, right now. Now, not in the past, right now. These teachings are incredibly radical because they upend the thought system of the world, which we've all been conditioned to adhere to through absolutely no fault of our own. That's the way this world works. We think we're human beings. We think we're our age, our height, our occupation, our nationality, our gender, and countless other labels. That's what passes for us here in this dream, and the world itself is a dream. That's why we call enlightenment awakening. It's a very appropriate term. So, in wrapping this conversation up, we're invited to send forth the messengers of love. We're invited to extend love to our brother. We're invited to forgive. We're invited to have loving thoughts in place of judgmental, hateful thoughts. And we know when we're having judgmental, hateful thoughts, when we bring this present moment awareness to the table, we catch ourselves, in other words, and recognize that. That is an opportunity to forgive. Forgive whatever appears on the screen of life, whatever or whomever you're judging, and forgive yourself for dreaming it. Please do not forget that very important component of true forgiveness. Forgive yourself. It's our dream. The world that we appear to inhabit and see and be subject to, and all of that stuff, is not coming at us, contrary to what we all say in common language. It's not coming at us. It is coming from us, and it is not our home. It is itself illusion. The central teaching, by the way, of A Course in Miracles is this: there is no world. Oh, and here in the text of A Course in Miracles, here in the Course itself, it has an exclamation point. There is no world. Quite clearly, not everyone here on Spinning Ball of Rock is ready to accept that. And perhaps you're not either. And that's okay. This course is radical. It's been called the most radical teaching in history. So, whether you think that's true or not, it's certainly different, to say the least. And should you choose to follow the guidance of our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, you'll begin to see things differently. Should you choose to send forth messengers of love rather than fear and hatred, you'll begin to see a different world. Ultimately, there is no world, but we must clarify our perception first. So, right here, while we appear to be in the dream, do you want to see continued savagery, or do you want to see love? Do you want to see kindness and joy instead? It's your choice. It really is. All right. So I thank you as always for joining me. And well, quite clearly, this course is, well, very different. You may think it's different. Great. You may think it's different. Yeah, I don't ever want to listen to this pixelated image on the screen again. Well, no problem. Now, should you choose to continue to study this, these videos appear several times a week, and I want to thank all of you who have recently joined us. This is the subscription button here in the corner of your screen. Go ahead and click that, and you'll be prompted to subscribe and join us. Several videos appear each week, so I want to invite you to go ahead and please do that if you have not already. Also, I welcome your questions. Spirituality, after all, is deep, deep self inquiry. It is. It's a process of deep self inquiry. And, well, that implies that there are going to be questions that come up. So if you have them, please feel welcome to leave them here. I do take a look at the comment thread here on YouTube frequently. So I will see the comments or questions. Okay. So I thank you as always again for tuning in, and I will talk to all of you very soon.